We have a courage crisis. That's what we have. We talk about the masculinity crisis, forget about that. We have a courage crisis. If we fix the courage crisis in the Ummah, most things are going to be fixed. Trust me. Because once you open your mind to the possibility that we can do certain things, that we're capable of certain things, that we can put ourselves in certain positions, then the whole game changes. Effectively, courage gives you options that were not there.
Especially
so
the
many
leadership.
options. Yes.
The leadership, among the leadership.
Yes. Oh, yes.
They think that the United States and the country will destroy if they act or if they speak.
Exactly,
They will
bro.
lose it.
Exactly, bro.
This is just a passing thought I had, but do you think this should be emphasized on the youths, like up until like 20s, when they have more risk appetite? There's not like they're not there isn't a lot of like responsibility with children and family and what other kind of ties. When you're young, you can take more risks, and that's when it's a time for you to be more courageous.
We should have it embedded somehow in every
aspect. Yeah.
In every manhaj. Like, for example, I'm not going to go as far as this, but like there's a very famous example that people use of the Spartans. I cannot remember the name of the leader at the time. Leonidas had this very stringent program for the Spartans, where when they were 6 years old, they would engage in like combat sport so much, and there was an intentional kind of methodology to develop courage physically. So they do combat sports, they do physical stuff, they do wrestling, they learn how to sword fight, all that kind of stuff, because the idea was that these guys need to protect the city, and they need to live a kind of difficult life. We need to have something like that embedded into the Islamic systems, because it's a difference between having, sorry to put it this way, but a dog which is like, say, an Alsatian dog or German Shepherd, which can use its teeth, to having a toothless dog. Effectively a toothless dog, khalas, you're finished. If you saw an Alsatian and he opened his mouth and he had no teeth in his mouth, would you get scared?
Hug it.
No, what are you going to do to you? The problem is the Ummah today. Our men have the bodies of Alsatian, but no teeth. And we ask ourselves the question as why is feminism there? Why is feminism is coming to the women and all this kind of stuff, and how comes? And how comes the women are taking over the men? Part of it is because, okay, fine, responsibility falls on their shoulders for that, because they've allowed themselves to be corrupted by these kinds of thoughts processes. But part of it is our fault, because if we had non-negotiables with a woman, and we had courage in the household with your wife and with your daughter, and you're willing to divorce her, you're willing to do this or that, you'd never have this issue. 100% you'd never have it. 1,000,000%. I guarantee you wouldn't have this issue. So he would just give her consequences. If this happens, I'm not going to be with you anymore. If this happens, khalas. If then. But many men, forget about the leaders of organizations, in their marriages, with their daughters, with their boys, with their sons, they can't even exercise moral courage. So moral courage must be exercised on every level. This is what this should teach you. Because right now, you don't have an opportunity. Allah hasn't blessed me and you with that particular opportunity to defend ourselves in the way that Badr style. But whatever opportunities we do have, we have to use. That's honestly what we have to do. And that's what I'm saying. We have a courage crisis in the Ummah today. If that's fixed, everything else is fixed. We all heard these fatwas that changing every other month. Subhanallah, I'm not going to mention what fatwas, but before this was haram, and then when this leader came in place, halal. So the leader made it halal haram. So he's a god. And what is he? So wallahi, what's going on? So you talk about jihad in this way in the 1970s. When America had this relationship with this country. And the Soviet Union had this relationship with this country. I'm not going to say anything, you fill in the blanks. And now in the 90s and 2000, no, you speak about jihad in that way. Because America has a relationship with that country, and the Soviet Union no longer exists. So the concept of jihad has changed from 1979 to 1999 because of the American involvement. And the way you speak about it has changed. So you're telling me either that the religion has changed or you have changed. I'm willing to wager on the latter. And if you had courage, wouldn't you have not changed? You would have stayed. You would have said, listen, right now, at least spell it as it is. We're in a situation of weakness. We can't say this, but this is the truth. I speak like a man. the religion of Islam. So Islam has a strong emphasis on protective jealousy, al-ghira, and it has a strong emphasis on protection in general. And this is something which, if it crumbles, the whole community crumbles. And people are scared to talk about these kind of things. And it's obviously within limits. You're not going to see a woman with that hijab and she's Muslim, that you're going to go and speak to her about that. You don't need to do that. But at the same time, if there's some woman being molested in front of you by some other guy, and she's right in front of you, at least say something, akhi. You know what I'm trying to say? Yes, hold on.
From the liberal ethic perspective, and I don't want to change this to a philosophical conversation, but when they say, you know, this is insecurity, like how would, you know, you're being insecure, this and this.
Sure,
and
that's
this.
a really good question. You see, there's two words which you need to be aware of, definitionally and otherwise, which have become buzzwords. One word is the word confidence. And the word confidence is defined in the dictionary, most dictionaries, as being secure in one's ability. So the antithesis to confidence is insecurity, right? Now, if you go, especially with this like pop psychology and counseling and life coaching and this, there are now all these kind of life coaches that tell men and women, particularly women, how not to be insecure. Or we will let you get rid of your insecurity. Have you ever come across this? You've got insecurities and we'll help you remove those insecurities, as if insecurity is a bad thing. But insecurity can be a good thing. Because insecurity can be divided into two different types. There's justifiable insecurity and unjustifiable insecurity. For example, someone performing at a very high level of athleticism is a footballer, for example. And then they watch the tape and they realize that they have some flaws in their game. Is it insecure for them to acknowledge that? It is, in a sense, because they're no longer secure about their ability. But that's a justifiable insecurity, which can actually lead to progression and advancement if they fill it up. So all human beings are insecure. There was this very famous show called The Sopranos. And I don't know what character said it when I was watching it when I was younger. But he said that man is motivated entirely by his insecurity. So insecurity is not a bad thing. And Western culture wants us to expunge and remove insecurity from our systems. But in reality, it's only the unjustifiable insecurity which we need to remove, which is the ones which are led to or lead to a kind of delusional behavior. So if they say it's insecurity, say, yes, it is. And I'm secure being insecure on these issues because that's an issue which I need to be insecure about. For example, if I was a morbidly obese person, weighing 180 kilograms, 80 pounds, I've already exceeded that. But if I was 180 kilogram and someone said, well, I'm insecure about my weight, I should be insecure about my weight. Because not being insecure about my weight leads to death. I'm secure being insecure. It's a justifiable insecurity. If my family member X is doing such and such behavior, I should be insecure about that. And it's a justifiable insecurity. So if they say that, just ask them, what's wrong with being insecure sometimes? If without insecurity, there is no motivation to become better. So this idea that we should be, because it goes back to the idea that we should be without blemish and where there's no pain, there should be no inconvenience in the way we're thinking. Insecurity is a kind of inconvenience, but it's a good kind of inconvenience if it's justifiable in certain contexts to get you better at doing certain things.
Jazakumullahu khairan for watching. We hope this video boosted your iman and brought you closer to Allah. If you found it beneficial, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for daily inspiration from the best scholars and speakers. May Allah bless you and increase you in goodness. See you in the next video, inshallah.